Don Luke Electronics. The Alpha Geek, geeking out. If you go to bed at night without learning something new that day, your day is not complete. Luke Paquin, 1973. Welcome to the Alpha Geek blog, 2012. Back to the electronics world where somebody used to apprentice for years before moving up in the electronics hierarchy. We now have kids that goes for a few weeks to a few months in a famous microcontrollers, and move on to another one to improve their resume, and that they want to be electronics stars a few short years after they get interested in the trade. This lead to what I saw yesterday on YouTube when a 25-year-old old-timer has his own electronics show on YouTube, plainly shows that he cannot handle the job at hand, and even worse does not even demonstrate good manual skill at the basic components work for the programming he demonstrates. The latter is a trait that you see often nowadays on electronics show, and I assume that they do not teach basic techniques, or worse that they do, but most people do not bother learning and practicing them properly. I guess that I am ranting again and boring you all, and that what was supposed to be a very short post is turning into a long one, but I firmly believe that experience and basic skills takes time to learn, and that there are no shortcuts to attain them both. I noticed the same trend in my professional life as a programmer, is that there are so many new things to learn that people are more interested in the technology itself, than in making things actually do something very well, without the need of the latest technology. A word of advice to anybody passing by here from an old-timer at many things including life: no matter what your goals are in life, no matter what subject you really feel deeply interested in, please take some time developing the basic skills to achieve your goals. It both takes time and a lot of practice, but when you finally grow up and are finally getting a bit of real-life experience under your collar, you will learn to appreciate the fact that you actually know a lot more about the subject at hand than a lot of your contemporaries, and one day you will also learn to be proud of that in itself. By the way, this also applies to people my age, as we are never too old to learn anything new, and experience, no matter how old you are to start with, takes a long time to accumulate. As they would say today, knowledge and experience rules. Welcome to the Alpha Geek blog, 2012. After many setbacks in the past few weeks, it is finally the time to launch this video blog. I want to welcome you all, and I hope that this technology video blog will be both interesting and helpful.
Hi there, I'm Luke, the Alpha Geek. I want to welcome you today to my new blog about all things technology. I started with being interested in technology in my late teens when I was processing black and white photos in my basement, and I didn't have the money to buy a dedicated timer to print the photos. And I remember seeing a project in some magazine where you could use 555 timer IC with an LED to build a rudimentary timer, and more than 40 years later I still have some 555 ICs in my toolkit with LEDs and things like that. So things haven't changed, and these days they say that they're still building more than 1 billion 555 timer ICs a year. So some of the old technology that works doesn't change. What we'll be doing over the next few months and years is talking about everything from programming for web, mobile devices, desktop application for both Linux, Windows, the Mac OS, and things like that, microcontroller programming, and all things electronics. I want to talk specifically about electronic projects that involve things like industrial automation, like things like this, that is somewhat old school. Other industrial automation devices, input and output with relays, microcontroller like the old reliable PIC, which is, this one is probably from a more than 20-year-old project I did in those years, and newer microcontrollers like the Arduino, things like that, the Uno, which is, this is the R2 version, Here's an R3 version, which is essentially the same with a white background. The Mega, the Pro Mini, one of those cute little microcontroller that has the same power of his big brother, but in a very, very small form factor. Fancier Arduinos like the Fio, which we see up there, which has the same capability, but if we flip it over and I remove my hand from in front of it, we see that in the back is mounted an XB wireless mesh network transmitter, one of those little things that so your system can communicate wirelessly, and it's got a big rechargeable lithium ion or LiPo battery in the back, and that is kind of a test board for a project that I recently did. It's got an IMU that consists of an accelerometer, a gyroscope, and a magnetometer, all built on the same little board. And we'll talk about things like sensor, infrared sensors, alcohol sensor, temperature and humidity sensors, things like smart cards and their associate readers, security device, things like RFID that everyone talks about these days. Here's an RFID reader with some of the type of technology I've worked in the past. Going back to the Arduino, we'll talk about different shields, things like that Ethernet shield that actually works out of the box and the software is good for it, or things like that MP3 player shield that the software doesn't work at all, but actually the card works well if you reprogram it properly. Things like prototyping shield for the Arduino, a MIDI shield, all kind of things, home automation devices. What else do I have here? Biometric devices, industrial mobile device with barcode readers and things like that incorporated, more run-of-the-mill devices like the BlackBerry, and things like barcode readers. So all of those kind of technology that we see around us, all of these every day, and that we want to do project with. And also we'll touch things about tools like multimeters, oscilloscopes, and all of the geek related hardware and software that we all love. As you probably have noticed so far, the video blog will be off the cuff, unrehearsed, and without a script. And I'm sure that once we get going, things will fall a bit easier than with this first installment. So I want to welcome you in this new home for me, and we'll be talking about new projects starting in the coming days. So keep watching this place, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Don Luke Electronics. https://www.jlpconsultants.com/luc. JLP Consultants. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram.